thank you so much for coming to Shop Talk today. My name's Calypso Rose and I'm director of the Inditute, and we curate workshops and talks all across London, and we've curated Shop Talk today. Your company needs all the voices it can get to stand out from the crowd. This is where a blog is essential. It is the beating heart of your brand, the center of all your marketing efforts. If you ever thought that a blog wasn't for you, then take notes and think again. Blogging really does help business, and here to help you down the blog road are Sarah Aquiscombe, an award-winning blogger and interior stylist, founder of the No Bull Blog School, and Grant Paris, a strategic marketing consultant to luxury brands and writer of the blog interiorstylehunter.com. And chairing the discussion is Daniel Nelson, director of Octobercoms.com, a London communication agency for design and architecture. His blog, Atelier Tally, focuses on product and graphic design, and he teaches at the London College of Communication. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is this working? Yeah, it is working. Thanks everyone for coming along. There's quite a lot of people actually. Yeah, we've got two bloggers that are actually very similar kind of things that you do, but completely different styles, which is really nice. We can show a really different side of things. As Calypso was saying, so Sarah we've got that runs your own blog under your own name, sarahacrozombie.com, and Interior Style Hunter. I wanted to kind of start, if I could talk with Sarah, so that we can get straight into it, really. You've recently, I know we'll come back to your blog, but you've recently started the No Bull Blogging School, which, as I've got written down here, it's a 6-week No Bull crash course to take your blog from to unforgettable.
Yeah, well, originally it had swear words, but I took them out because I didn't know if Google was going to penalise me for using swear words, so I took them out.
Well, do you want to tell us a little bit how you managed to kind of take your personal blog, so your own experience rather than school, your own personal blog, and then take it into actually making some money?
Yeah, so I started blogging about a couple of years ago because I really wanted to leave my job and get into working in the interior design industry, or just interiors creative stuff. And I had no experience and I had no contacts, and basically I didn't know what I was doing. So I thought, the way that I can establish my authority online and kind of position myself as an expert is to start a blog and just talk about my style and things that I knew or didn't know, and just kind of share the journey, really. So it was very honest from the beginning. And over those 2 years, I've kind of managed to leave my job and then go into working in the creative field, just from showcasing what I wanted to do, my style and stuff on my website. And so the way that I kind of make money through blogging at the moment is through sponsored posts with brands. So I do a lot of collaborative posts with independent brands, big well-known brands. It's all kind of advertising, really.
Right.
And it's about thinking of new, interesting ways that you can showcase a brand's product to the audience. So that's predominantly it, but then I used it as a platform to launch my own freelance career.
To other things as well, yeah. But just with sponsored posts, just to kind of, for anyone who's not really sure how that kind of whole thing works, that's essentially where a brand comes to you and they want you to write about them, and they're paying you a fee to kind of write a post about them. And the editorial side of that is over to you.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's not just like, oh, someone's giving me money, so I'll write a blog post.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right fit for my audience. Like, my audience have a very specific style and specific interests. So if the brand is a really good fit with that, and I personally love it, and I can think of an interesting way to create some content that will engage readers, then it's a good fit.
Yeah. Actually, I'll jump over to Grant as well on this, because we were just talking before this about sponsored posts. And your take on it is similar, it sounds like, where you kind of work with certain people that are similar. Do you want to just tell us about some of the sponsored posts and your approach to that side of things?
Well, yes, it's exactly like Sarah sort of said. I think it's important that you work together with a brand that your audience will sort of know that it's part of your ethos. It's who you would sort of feature anyway when you sort of write about blogging. And I think I've done some sponsored posts before with some brands, and I write about a lot of other brands. And some people often actually approach me and say, "Oh, you work with X, Y, and Z. Do they sponsor all your posts?" And some of the time it's actually no, it's not. I just love the brand, and I think that's a good sort of comment from my audiences, because I know then that when I do take on the sponsored posts, and bearing in mind I've only ever done 4 and I've posted over 100 and something posts, so I'll only do it when I really believe that it's the sort of right sort of fit for my audience.
And in terms of kind of, I won't get into the detail of this, but how much we all charge for sponsored posts, it really varies. And I get approached for things where it's small amounts and then up to larger amounts and things. So working with brands, it always comes down to just that individual conversation for me. Is that similar, where you don't have like, this is my fee, do this? Or do you discuss that with them each time, or is it?
I mean, I do have a minimum fee that I would sort of do something for, but it depends on the content, and then it also depends on how much social media exposure the brand is looking for. So if you're going to work with me and we're going to do a sponsored post, and then we're going to sort of work social media for the next 3 or 4 months, well, then it's going to be a lot more than if it's just sort of let's just do something on social media or whatever. So it totally depends on the brand. And remember, I'm also working in the luxury side of the industry, so everything's bespoke. I mean, it's I'm not selling packages. I can't sell packages because the brands that I work with are so different. You couldn't possibly do that on my side of the market. So
is it similar to you?
Yeah, it's quite similar, but then I think there's a real consideration for what is a new independent brand that doesn't obviously have much marketing budget, and then the more established, your H&Ms and your IKEA and things like that. The way you play ball with those two different people is going to be completely different. And I'm really open-minded to like new and up-and-coming designers, that maybe don't have loads of money to invest in stuff like that, but there's another way. Value isn't just money, is it? There's other things that you can do.
Yeah, that you can work with them in.
Yeah.
Okay, Grant, I haven't really spoken about your blog because we just jumped onto sponsor posts, but so you also run your strategic marketing consultancy for luxury interior designers and brands. Has the blog helped with that, or was it the other way around? How did this come about?
Well, I think it was at a point last year when I decided a couple of years ago that I wanted a career change, and one of the best, I'm from a marketing background, so one of the best ways to build a profile for yourself is by doing a blog. And in the interior design industry, I wasn't known at all pre sort of April 2015, and building a blog has given me a really big profile in that industry, and that's helped me to launch a business. It helps that I'm passionate about design. I love design. I live with luxury design. I breathe luxury design. That's what that's me personally. So it was definitely a sector that I wanted to work in, and bringing my sort of skills of strategic marketing to this sector was just an absolute dream. And by creating a blog, you build that profile for yourself, and you start meeting people in the industry.
Actually, you touch on your kind of previous background. So you're not new to blogging in a way, but you set up the blog in April 2015, which is a relatively young blog. In fact, in the same way, yours is quite a young blog, because some of them have been around for kind of 6-7 years now. But you're not new to blogging. You've done this more from, I suppose, a corporate way. How do these differ? How have you come about this personally versus how you would do it for a corporate?
Well, coming from the city where, there's a lot of rules about what you have to do, what you can't do, especially in the finance world, which is what I was in before, you've got to be very careful about what you talk about and what you blog about. So corporate blogging was quite restrictive, but it's still got the results. I mean, we had massive results from the corporate blogs that we used to run in different sectors of clients that we used to target. For example, we used to run an art blog back at the finance firm that I used to work for, aimed at artists and galleries, because those were our target markets. So, me moving into design and writing a blog about luxury interior design, I've sort of free from those, the shackles of sort of corporate rules. And I think that's why the blog has exploded, because it just has so much more personality, and it documents my journey through my career, really. So, and travels all around the world too. So
do you think that your own personality in your own blog is really, really important then? Would you both say that?
100%.
Yeah.
I think, to me, I'm like, the whole point of having a blog, even if you're a brand, is that your brand or you individually have your own voice, and it's all about your opinion and your view on the world. and sharing, you know, off the cuff things that might just seem like irrelevant, but to the reader, they're really helping them get an idea of the person. Like, everything is so saturated at the moment when it comes to shopping or blogs or anything. And the only way that you'll ever stand out is by having your own unique take on things and not being afraid to be yourself and not trying to just mimic, you know, oh, I'm doing an interiors blog, so let me try and write in the way that Elle Decoration writes. It's like, that will never work. You have to be yourself.
Exactly, I completely agree. And I think that any brand out there, you've got to sit down and build an identity for yourself. And that identity needs to almost be like a real living person. And the blog for a brand needs to be the living sort of day-to-day life of that person, of that brand as a person. That is honestly the strongest way that you as a brand can build a blog and really sort of, like Sarah says, give it so much personality. Because that's what is going to make you stand out. And remember, people do business with people. And yes, you're writing a blog as a brand, but you have human characteristics in there, and people are going to connect with that. That's really important, and that's the foundation of everything that I do. You know, people want to do business with me, and they can see who I am by reading my blog.
And Sarah, you've really helpfully just written a whole blog post about how you've started the school and what it's gone on to. But there was one bit that I picked out which kind of interests me, and it's all part of this, where you talk kind of about packaging yourself up to sell like a product. Is that important, kind of in a way? We're talking about personality, but packaging yourself up in a way where you can market yourself and your blog.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's not in a way of like be a completely fake version of you. But I think what's really important when it comes to marketing and branding is understanding the exact person and their characteristics that you are trying to talk to, and then make sure that you are not giving them mixed messages. So one day I'm not dressed this way, and then the next day when you see me, I'm going to be in a really posh suit thing, you know, because it's not, no, that's not, this is me, I couldn't wear that. You know, it's like people will just get really confused with the message.
Yeah.
So I think what I meant by that is just like, have exactly in your mind who the person is and just talk to them, and don't worry about, oh, but then what if Mary down the street reads it and it's not for her? It's like, it doesn't matter, because you want to go wholeheartedly for that person. And I just essentially try and blog for people like me, because it's really easy then.
Well, this is the interesting thing, because you're both quite different in your style.
But it's the same, essentially. You know, I'm sort of blogging for my niche, and Sarah's blogging for her niche, and it works because we both live our ethos, and you know that's us. So.
And the funny, sorry to interrupt you, like the funny thing is that me and Grant will probably like loads of the same things, but then he will write it for his audience in a certain way, and I'll write it for mine in a certain way. So it's not about, you know, like having different opinions. It's just about how you share the message.
Are there ever on that kind of note then, are there ever any times when you think, I like that, but it's not really right for my blog because the audience will get confused?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I get emails every day from brands, you know, all over the world saying, can you please write about us? Can you please write about us? And, you know, 99% of the time it's no, because I know that I'm going to get questions from my audience, and my audience are really sort of reactive. You know, if I post, I've tried it before, I'm always testing, and I've tried to sort of put posts up before that are just a little bit different, just to see the reaction. And people email me immediately saying, what is that? You know, what we don't understand. How does that fit in? Are you changing the way you do things? You know, my audience is quite sort of hot like that.
Well, it shows a passionate audience, really, doesn't it? People who really follow you for what you're talking about. Actually, in a similar way, you both do interior styling as well. Has your own blogs, in a way, does it get you work in a way from that side of things, or is it very separate?
It's a funny one, because I've found the interior styling industry on the very brand photo shoot, big production side of things, is that typical thing of it's who you know, and you know, the best of the best doing it, and you've got to go through the ranks in the right way. You've got to be an assistant for 2 years first, and then you've got to move up to this, and it's, you know, and then you kind of come over to our world, which is like, you can create your world. Like, if you want to be this person, then you say, hey, I want to be this person, and it happens. And brands will come to me and Grant and want to do stuff with us. And then when I go and work on very industry shoots, they're kind of like, excuse me, what? Like, you're making tea. Like.
you kind of go back to the beginning kind of with them.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, when I started Interior Style Hunter, it was because I'd been studying interior design at Central St. Martin's, but just because it was something that I was really interested in and looking for a career change. Post that, I sort of, with what happened from the blog, I was being approached by designers and brands, and they were saying to me, please, can you help us market ourselves? So I started the consultancy. But I still get the chance to do, maybe 3 or 4 styling projects a year, which is fantastic. I can choose what I want to do, really. The next one I'm doing is a big sort of 4-bedroom, 4-story townhouse in Cambridge. And I mean, like Sarah says, to get that sort of work through the traditional channels is really, really hard, really hard.
So why do you, just to kind of have a counterpoint of view, why do you think that you've worked out exactly how to do it when other bloggers maybe haven't quite got it right? What do you think sets you apart? I know that's a horrible question, but
yeah, without
is it coming back to that packaging yourself up?
I think, yeah. I mean, the first thing that I teach on my blog school is work out your niche.
Right.
So work out what you want to stand for, the exact kind of person that you're going to talk to, and I think that's helped with the sort of getting other work and working with brands, because when I go to brands, I can tell them exactly who the audience is, and so they know straight away whether that's the same audience that they want to reach or not.
Right.
So it makes it a bit easier.
Yeah, you can skip ahead.
Well, I think that's exactly it. We're blogging about who we are and an audience that we like.
Yeah.
So that's why it works, and we work really hard. I think it's about. Yeah,
that too. We
hard
do
work.
work hard.
I mean, I love getting on an aeroplane now, especially if I'm going long haul, because it's 10 hours I can write.
But, yeah.
I mean, and you just write and you write and you write. You just don't stop writing. And I love writing, but it's hard to fit it in with clients and all sorts of things that are going on. But it's a lot of hard work.
I'm in a similar way where I've been travelling on trains quite a lot, and so I've been blogging quite a lot more because I've got more time to sit and write. It's quite distracting otherwise to do it. Sarah, one thing that always kind of strikes me about your, I suppose, how you've kind of packaged yourself up is you've got a very honest approach to doing it. And actually, I've got written down here like a really why not kind of approach. And there's lots of things that you do that you've experimented with that other bloggers maybe haven't tried as well, like you do a lot of YouTube as well. And you've got the webinars, and then you've done how to design a 3D room, all these different things going on. But what I was kind of reading when I was reading that post was about some of this coming from a point when your interior styling work had dried up a bit, and you were faced with, what am I going to do next? I've got kind of no work coming in, so just sort of giving this a go. Do you think you've always had that approach, or do you think it was just because you ran out of money and had to do something?
No, I mean. The funny thing about money is obviously like money makes the world go round, but then at the same time it's not what will ever make me like happy or not happy.
Yeah.
But I think it was I started the blog school because interior styling, being a freelancer, it can be very up and down and it can be very seasonal. And I kind of had this point where I looked ahead and was like, oh my God, I don't have any work booked in for like 5 months.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And I think I've got a bit of an entrepreneurial background. I've had many like tried and failed businesses before, and little ventures here and there. So I think I'm always kind of looking outside the box, and I was like, well, I know I'm really good at marketing. I know I have loads to share on blogging, and I have this kind of no-bull, quite honest, dry approach. And so I thought, well, I might as well try it and see if there's people out there that will like my style of teaching, and luckily they did.
And it's been quite successful, hasn't it? And you've done one round of it, is that?
I've done 2 rounds, so
right.
kind of 2 terms, I suppose.
Right.
So I started it in December, or November, December last year. So that was the first round. And then I did another round in February, and I'm going to do another opening in June. So it's kind of like once a quarter kind of thing. And I've got students here in this.
Yes.
They're everywhere.
They're a testament to it. And Grant, you help brands in the same kind of way with kind of digital PR and social media, and run kind of courses. But how does your blog have any effect on that, or is it just purely this is another part of me that you do?
It's just another part of me, and the blog is central to my whole business. Whatever I do, there's an element of it on my blog, and that's where my audience sits. So whatever I'm doing and whatever I'm going to be doing in the future, it's all going to be on the blog. It's going to all be off the blog, and it's all going to be aimed at the blog's audience.
So kind of both of you in that same way, your brand or how you packaged it up, you've got lots of different strands go into it, and it's all just under the same umbrella of being you.
Yeah, I was trying to explain this to I got a new accountant the other day because I've never had that before, and really scary. And she was trying to get me to explain like how my business works, and I was kind of like, it's a triangle. Like the blog is in the middle, and then on one end of that spectrum is like all the industry styling work stuff I do, and then the other end of that is like the blog school. So
Yeah.
and I couldn't have a school about blogging without having an amazing blog, and I couldn't get work in the industry without having a great blog, and so they all kind of feed into each other. So
Yeah. And
Exactly.
is it same kind of thing? With the workshops that you run for people, do you want to just tell us a little bit about what kind of things you cover and what the workshop is that you do?
Well, so it's a sort of a half-day workshop that I run with interior designers usually, and we sort of look at things like branding and how do you need to represent your brand online. Then we look at social media tools, what to use, how to sort of leverage social media, and then we look at reporting. So, we're doing all this activity, but what are our goals, and actually are we achieving them by all this hard work that we're doing? And then we look at sort of influencers and who to work with. Each brand is so different, and like Sarah and I, different brands will sort of approach us because our blogs are completely different. So we sort of identify, who to work with. That's basically it.
That kind of way. From my side of things, when we work with clients at our agency, I do a lot of SEO, and that's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about, because in a way that's not something that you're both kind of always talking about, SEO or anything. In fact, I think you wrote that in one of your posts or something about not doing any of that, because there's plenty about that in a way. But does that ever come into the whole idea of blogging? Is the search engine optimization side, in that you've got lots of fresh content?
The SEO side is definitely a big part of blogging, and it's kind of, even just from going around and talking to some of the stall holders today, and they say, I've kind of always wanted to do blogging, but I'm not sure whether, and it always kind of falls to the last thing in the line. And I was like, it's really good for SEO. Like if you want your products to get discovered, as long, and I think, as I said in many blog posts, there's a lot about SEO in the world. If anyone doesn't know what SEO is, by the way, because we're just talking about it, it's search engine optimization. It's basically where you end up falling on the Google ranking when someone searches for something. And getting your blog to appear, or your brand or your product or whatever, is really big. It's huge business. And there's loads of really, really fancy, complicated ways and people that you can pay thousands and thousands of pounds. But then there are also like a few simple things that you can do if you're just a blogger on your own, or you're just a brand and you're not quite ready for that yet. So
that's actually, it's one of the things we always talk to clients about, is it's not any secret. It's actually something that anyone can do, because it's common sense a lot of the time. But it's just thinking about your niche and your keywords in a way, and putting those out, and lots of fresh content, and that's a good starting point. I mean, there's lots of detail to it, but that's a great starting point. I wanted to ask, just because I see we're kind of getting to where we should take some questions soon, but just about the school. So what kind of things you cover when you in the course that you do there?
Yeah, so my blog school is for a specific niche. It's basically for people that want to start blogging, or have very recently started and probably kind of started it, but then they're like, I had all this excitement and now I don't really know what I'm doing. So it's basically for people like me, where a few years ago I was working in a full-time job that was really uncreative and hated it, and I just needed a creative outlet. So I teach everything from just finding your niche to a bit of SEO, kind of more tech stuff like how to set up your website, but mainly kind of content, how to write great content, what to put in your content.
Just some of those
loads
practical
of stuff.
side of things.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you have to go on the website to have a look at it.
Yeah, go on the website and you can see.
And so you've got another one starting in June, and Grant, you've got a workshop in June as well, actually, haven't you? Both got it. And just before we move to questions, then, is there like one tip that you would give somebody who's thinking about kind of, I want to start a blog for kind of business side of things? What would be the thing you would offer, like advice?
Think about who you're writing for. That is the absolute first thing that you do before you put anything before you publish anything, is to think about who are you writing for and what do they want to hear. Don't talk about you. It's not about you. It's about what your clients want or the people who are shopping from you. That is who it's all about. You have to flip it all upside down and think from their perspective.
I 100% agree with Grant's opinion. And I also think that the best thing that I've realised, or I sort of learnt this myself from teaching the blog school, was that one of the most important things you can do is look at realistically how often you can blog.
Right.
And not try and set yourself this insane schedule of like, I'm going to write 5 blogs a week and do that for 2 weeks and then nothing for 3 months and then come back to it, because it just, underneath all of that, it just tells people that you're not trustworthy and that you don't live up to your word. You know, so I think look at realistically, if you are starting a blog, how often can I write? Is it once a week? Is it once a month? But I'm going to make that one post amazing.
Yeah.
And just be really consistent and, you know, don't overwhelm yourself with it, trying to jump into it. Just be consistent and be realistic with what you can do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well. Okay. Oh.
I'm going to run around with the microphone,
With the microphone,
for you. Yeah.
okay. So
Any
yeah, let's go to
questions?
questions. Ah, lots.
How did you both, like, physically exactly start your blogs and find your initial audiences?
Oh, that very first day.
Oh God! Well, okay. So mine's a bit weird because I've had all these various like incarnations of businesses, and I used to actually make music as a musician. So I'd started and stopped many blogs along the way, but I guess when you say like the specifics of it?
Where did you write it and how did you get it out?
Ah, right.
Oh, okay. So I was quite big on using social media to get out, like, so the first blog post I would write, obviously you start a blog, no one knows it exists. So you need to utilise the networks that you've already got. So social media is a good place to start. Friends and family, they never sort of go on to being like long-term readers, but they can help you get that initial momentum out there. But a really good place to start is actually just your own Facebook profile. Rather than have a Facebook page or a Twitter account, you might have 200 friends, and out of those 10 might be your exact audience. So if you can get it to them, you know, even if you're starting there, that's a great place to start. But social media is really helpful.
I think I'm going to expand on that. I completely agree with what she said. And I think, you know, if you're doing it for a brand and you've just got £50 a month you want to do for marketing spend it on social media advertising. Honestly, it is absolutely amazing, especially Facebook, for example. You can target, I mean, the options are just absolutely incredible, you know, to get your content out there and get people to know about your brand. I mean, honestly, £50 a month. I mean, I spend probably promoting my own posts about £20 a week. I mean, it's so cheap. It's absolutely
And you can be
ridiculous.
very targeted as well.
It's very targeted, and I'm reaching tens of thousands of people per campaign. It's so cheap. Really look at Facebook advertising.
You did the same, Sarah, with your school, didn't you? With £50, you just
Yeah,
put into
I
it.
completely agree. Like, I do little Facebook boosts on my own posts each week, and then for the blog school, yeah, I started with like 50 quid, and then when I sold a place, I would put that money back into another advert, and I'd just kind of keep rolling it up. So it's very, very, it's an amazing tool, yeah.
And just on a very practical level, in case I was just picking up on actually where to publish these. So I use WordPress for the platform for my blog. I don't know what you both are using. I think
I'm on WordPress as
you're
well.
on
yes.
WordPress.
And then I use Squarespace,
Your
and
Squarespace,
I use
okay.
WordPress for the blog school site, so
Right.
a bit of both.
So if you're looking actually for the software that you need, these are kind of, there's Blogger and Squarespace and WordPress, but take your pick in a way for which one works. We've probably got time, I guess, for one more? Yeah, okay, good.
Hello, I'm interested in what the critical mass was, your readership, when they started to want to have sponsored posts with you.
That's a good question.
Gosh, that's interesting. I'm trying to think back now. It wasn't very big. I think I probably had a social media following of about 15,000 or so on all the channels. But it's relevant. That's the point. People reading the blog, probably about 5,000 readers a month. So we're not talking big numbers, but it's a targeted audience. That's the key. You know, it's those readers and those followers on social media are all interested in luxury interior design. So, and luxury interiors is not a huge niche. You know, it's not as big as sort of high street or that sort of thing. So, you know, it's as long as it's a targeted audience, that's the key. That's the key.
I think also what's worth saying, because I know you were saying, oh, specifically the blog, but PRs will never look at it like that. They want to know your social following as well, because that's almost more influential in some ways than the numbers on your blog. I usually say to my students, like, when you start getting to about 1,000 unique views a month, like, you can start talking to PRs. But it's really weird, like a lot of the PRs that I talk to, sometimes with some of them it's all about numbers, and then others it's a lot more of a holistic, like, we just really like what you're doing and you're a good brand fit for us. Personally noticed that the brand sponsorships really started to come in after I won an award. So try and win an award. Really helped.
Actually, in similar numbers, because I know roughly where I am in that as well. I'd go even lower than where you were, in kind of somewhere in between the two, kind of 1,000 to 5,000 a month, kind of. And there's plenty, in a way, of relevant things that come in that way. So
and
it's not
I just
high.
think if you can go to a brand and you can say that consistently every month I'm getting 1,000 people that have a specific interest, that is still really good reach.
Yeah.
So,
is there time for one more? Is that?
Yeah,
If there's
more
one more
question?
question.
Yep.
Okay, I want to start a blog. I don't read many blogs. Should I read loads, or will that make it so it's not such a unique voice from me? Should I not read it, or?
I wouldn't start by reading other blogs. You don't want to copy. You want your own voice out there, and you want to create your own thing. And if you just go out there and copy other bloggers, the brands aren't going to follow you because you've got nothing unique. You don't have your own perspective. It's working on developing your own perspective. That takes 6 months, and just figure out your own voice and what you want to talk about and how you want to talk about it.
yeah, so it's a weird one actually, because I've got a Facebook group of wannabe bloggers or up-and-coming bloggers, and we had this exact question. It was like, do you look at what other people are doing and use that as an influence to how you style everything, or do you just go rogue and do your own thing? And I think you need an element of both. Like, I very much don't purposely try not to look at what other bloggers are doing, but then I'm aware of the landscape to know where I fit, and if someone's thought of a really good idea of a format for a post, then I think, oh, maybe I could do that but a bit like this in my own way. So it's that thing of like a balance between being aware of, you know, if you go into any new industry, you can't just like turn up and like not know anything. You know, you've got to know a bit about what you're doing and how people write, and the quality of the pictures is massively important. But yeah, it's just a balance of don't let it influence you too much.
Okay, I think got to wrap up there,
Yeah.
haven't we?
Oh,
is there?
one more.
I've got a website. Should I, and a blog page, which I don't use very much at the moment, should I just put one blog on my blog post? Should I avoid doing the same thing, the same message on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram? Should I avoid repeating it, or is it is it okay? Is it a good idea to repeat it around the different?
So my advice on that would be, like, so if I write a blog post, I will share it on all of my social channels. But what I make sure to do is make sure that I use slightly different language each time.
Right.
Because if you use the same exact wording on Twitter or on Instagram, it just looks a bit like, you can't be bothered. And also, the audience on Instagram or the audience on like a Snapchat is completely different to the audience on Facebook. And so they need things they're still part of your audience, but they need things slightly worded in a different way. And I also just personally believe that the more effort you put into making the message be as well received as you can, which sometimes is quite time consuming, that you will get better results from it. So you can say the same thing, but in different words.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there are more questions, then you could speak to us all on Twitter. Is probably an easy way to carry on the conversation, which they're all up here. So if you want to carry on doing that, and also or you can continue the conversation on facebook.com/itsweblogdesign, and then I believe the video as well is going to be published anyway. So there's lots of ways in which we can carry on talking about this if you want to.
Thank you very much. Thank you.